was all delicious. The nationalities of the pupils included children from recent war-torn countries, including Syria, Iraq and Afghanistan. And along with so many others, I believe there was a representation from all of the continents. Despite the differences, the children were all supportive and they helped each other and got on so well with each other. To me, it was a great example of how all peoples should get on, and it demonstrates that there is hope for our future. I cannot end my address without mentioning my engagements with the Nepalese community and the Gurkhas. I've been fortunate to have represented the borough in the formal ceremonies involving the Gurkhas, and I've enjoyed the hospitality afforded to me by the Nepalese. These are wonderful people, and they integrate so well in our community and support our community whilst retaining their culture and traditions. My most surprising engagement was to what I would refer to as the secret garden. In Chart Sutton, just off a lane and down a footpath, is a garden in the escarpment of the North Downs. The site is where a British plane was shot down during the Second World War, and for many is regarded as the site of the unknown Battle of Britain pilot. For many years, a ceremony has taken place there, and prayers read and wreaths placed in front of the garden. It was most moving when a Hurricane and Spitfire flew over. They returned a couple more times, and on the last pass they tipped a wing. And then after that we had a church service in the hall up in Chart Sutton, and we had an afternoon tea in the local hall. So this was a moving event, and one I shall long remember. I have been so lucky. Thank you.
So thank you, Derek. It sounds quite an interesting life being here.
And I didn't mention Abby Mania.
No.
Sorry, Adam Mania.
Adam, was it Mania? No, but it does get to be quite hard work. I mean, I understand before December, Derek was just saying that he went to 19 carol concerts. And he talks about the carrot concerts. I think of the mince pies and the expanding waistband and whatever. But he's worn pretty well, actually. Yeah. But no, that was great. Thanks so much for that, Derek. Yeah. Okay, we can go on to the minutes of the last meeting now. Yeah. Has everybody read the minutes of the last meeting? And can I have somebody propose that they are Glenda and a seconder? And Max seconder. Yeah, all in favour of? Yeah. Okay. Oh, we have to sign. Item number 5, the declaration of interests. You have any changes to the register of interests? Councillors, no? Any declarations of pecuniary interest? No? And any requests for dispensation? No? Okay, if we can now move on to item 6, which is planning. If I can start with just the first item here, is that the appeal for Court Lodge Road was dismissed, and 3 further appeals have also now been kind of lodged. But just saying, on the Court Lodge Road, for any of those that actually went to the appeal last year at the Hilton Hotel, it was quite a drawn out process, and this parish council and other groups within the had a fair fight, but conducted themselves extremely well and extremely fairly. And I think the inspector come back and he summed up and basically said at that particular time there was absolutely kind of no chance of building ever being allowed in that particular area. But then within a year or so, it's come back on the table again, a slightly different application. But from what I can understand this time, the inspector has actually said, well, you know, I've already given you the reasons, and so it's going to be, you know, throwing it out again. So it's even stronger. And I don't think it's going to come. I might be wrong on this. Please don't quote me, anybody. I can't see this coming back to the table for a third time, given that it's been turned down number 1 and number 2. There is pressures on Harrietsham per se as we speak, and because of those pressures we have now put in 3 further appeals which have been lodged at the land south of Bell Farm, the 2 houses in Goddington Lane and the 25 houses in West Street. Other than the fact that it's gone to appeal, we don't know anything else, because some of these appeals are actually taken on what they call an informal basis. Basically, an informal basis says that they don't want us turning up to the appeal. They will actually make that decision based on the evidence that they've got in front of them. But as a parish council, I know that we've actually taken the residents and their concerns into action and prepared a case for the inspector to look at. So it really is a case of watch this space. I'm not sure if any other members of the planning committee have got anything else to say on that.
Not really. As far as Bell Farm is concerned, the closing date for comments and objections is the 8th of February. I put a notice on Facebook so that everybody could be aware, and they should write in. It doesn't matter if they don't live close to it. It concerns everybody in Harrietsham, not just those residents in East Street.
Absolutely. Okay.
That's it.
No, that's lovely, thank you. Is anybody else around the table got anything to comment on planning before?
The only thing that we are very much aware of is pollution of water sources.
Yes.
Water sources and resources are precious.
Absolutely. Yes, as I say, what Mag has just identified there is actually brought to the Harrietsham Planning Committee, and we're talking about what the builders are doing, where certain materials are ending up, and the problem with the water supply, etc. is things that we are talking about. So if anybody here hears anybody talking about it, we are on top of it. Doesn't mean to say we can necessarily do what we want to do, but we can object to the right places at the right times to try and make sure that these areas are protected.
We have got the Environment Agency and other groups just keeping an eye around the trout farm, because obviously some of these pill sites are there, and there has been an issue with some sewage from another area there that could affect not in the trout farm, but could affect the trout farm.
That area.
Yeah. So that is being monitored very closely at the moment, with the Environment Agency have been out.
Because there's also another issue with water contamination, which is to land at the south of Bell Farm, am I right?
There has been reports upon that, but we don't know that much about it at the moment.
I understand they put a pipe across the road into the Bell Farm site. This is West Nicholson, and to use as a soakaway.
Yes.
So, but to find out that, we have to get onto the site, I would imagine.
Yes. It would probably be better for the Environment Agency, for them, because they know what they're
But we need to be on top of that.
Exactly, which we are. So, but thanks for raising that anyway, mate. So, okay, if there's nothing more to report back on planning at this stage, if we can move on to communications, is there recommendations from the Communications Committee, Brenda?
Well, as you know, we've, I say we, actually I mean Amanda, has had a terrible time with the website.
Yes.
The old website that we were very pleased with, it's not so old actually, it's a year old, is no longer supported, and have gone over to a system called WordPress. And Mason or KCC was supposed to migrate all our content over to the WordPress system. However, it didn't it didn't happen. It was a complete mess. Amanda has spent days trying to sort this out and get it up and running again. Is it up and running?
Well, it's our most important parts of the website, like the minutes, agendas, they are ready to go live after about 40 odd hours on it.
She spent hours and hours.
It's to the point, it was so bad that the three of us went on a training course, and it was so, the migration had been so bad that the woman actually said to me, it's almost to the point of deleting it and starting again. It had been that bad. So I'd spent a lot of time just trying to sort out what we needed the most and sort of work backwards.
Right.
But obviously then I sent Mac and Glenda on another, to a conference last week, where a media conference where another company was actually there that builds websites for parish councils, and I got an email saying stop, because potentially
It's so simple.
we might actually just ditch this altogether.
And it costs nothing.
My argument when we went on the training course was the fact that the last parish council paid about £2,500 to set up a WordPress website, didn't like it, went over to the free EIS one, and EIS are now migrating us to WordPress. So we've literally done
So it's
a
going
full
round in
We've done a full
circle.
circle and got nowhere. But
So-
this new system that these people have there, it seems very simple and free of charge to communities.
And they said that they will set everything
They'll
up.
come and spend a day in the office and do it.
And it will be okay, and then our in-house man Mac will take
Well,
over?
one man there, he was a councillor. He had an existing website, and it took him 4.5 minutes on his iPhone changing his old website, his existing website, onto this new system.
4.5 minutes.
4.5 minutes. He did it. I mean, very clever on the phone. I can't do it. And
So,
it seems a very simple.
no pressure, Mac, it's very simple.
Yeah, well, it would take me more than 4.5 minutes,
Yeah.
but I have every confidence that we're going to have something
Exactly.
really
So-
seriously good.
The
Seriously
only
good.
thing that we might have to do, originally, we was, before we went to the free website, well actually just before the election, we had got a domain name for the new website. This company then went very quiet, and when we decided not to continue with them, we never managed to get all the passwords and everything, all the details we needed for our own domain name, because it's Harrietsham Parish Council.org or something. So we're looking into trying to find out how we can get that back so that we can use it.
But do we need it?
You'll need it for the Hugo Fox, you will need a domain name. So obviously we would have liked to have used the one that we originally had. If we can't, then we're going to have to set up a new domain name, which could be in the region of between £5 and £20. So it's not a huge amount of money, but it's just to let you know. I mean, I know that there's a budget.
So it's all happening now.
Well, we hope.
We're on the starting
Well, you're all smiling.
But we're
so
not
that's
doing
all.
anything
Yes.
else with the WordPress, because it's
No.
not, if we're not going to keep it up, there's no
It's
point
not
wasting
no.
our time on it.
No.
So that's where we're at.
Okay, is there any questions for our communications team from anybody at all? Before I move on to environmental. To Glenda?
There are no recommendations. It's just an update, really. In the last monthly meeting, since the last monthly meeting, new wooden gates have been installed at the new burial ground, and the hinges on the large iron gates at the Marlin Road entrance have been adjusted, so now there's not a problem with amenities, people getting inside. And the broken concrete post in Woodlands Walk has been replaced. And on the dog bin situation, we've received lots of complaints about the removal of the bins by Maidstone in one of their cost-cutting exercises. We were promised mixed bins to replace these, but we will only receive one, I gather. We were going to get in touch with MBC to provide more mixed bins, but I'm not sure we'll be.
Well, now they've said that what we were hoping to do, that they've said they won't put any other bins in. So then what we thought we'd do is try and get some of the old bins back, and we're hoping to be emptied. There's none left, they've all gone.
They've all gone.
Oh, they've all gone.
Every single one that they've removed has now gone out to other people.
Other
So there's not, we
parishes
can't even
that
have one of our old bins back.
Right, okay.
But taking the point on, we must impress upon dog owners, it's their responsibility to place their clean up after their dogs. It's unpleasant and it's disrespectful to everybody.
Absolutely. It's,
Their surroundings and other residents. It's just a complete lack of respect.
if I can just give a bit of an update on the dog bins situation kind of generally all around the borough. There's been a bit of an uproar over this because I've had a couple of meetings in the area that I represent as well, even this week. And there's meant to be mixed use of bins, but if you include things like bins at bus stops, where people are obviously putting their dog sort of mess into the bins, and the people have to queue up for the bus.
Yeah, it's just not very nice.
No, it's just the smell and whatever. It's just, and unfortunately, some of the dog bins have been removed, and the dog bins are isolated. They're near fields. They're not near mixed-use bins, and it's just causing so many problems that certain parish councils, and I think Lenham are one, have decided to let's just forget it. Let's just replace the dog bins ourselves, and we'll pay for the empty. Am I saying the right thing?
Yes, we've got up to 6 of our bins back.
You've got them.
We managed to get them back.
Yeah, that's the reason why I haven't got any left.
We are deciding.
They only afford to start with, they've got ours as well.
Sorry about that. We're also going to have to buy some new posts. We're also going to decide strategically where we're going to put them. And we also have agreed at our last council meeting that we would spend £1,300 a year emptying them.
Emptying the bins.
So, and like you say, Mr. Chairman, it has become very controversial.
Absolutely.
I mean, we had about a 40-minute discussion on dog bins for spending £1,300 when something else like spending 20,000 on neighbourhood plan comes through in 5 minutes.
That's right. No, it's
so it's become a very much a parish issue.
Exactly.
We've had a lot of complaints, but I think hopefully we're going to overcome it by taking the responsibility. I think it's unfortunate because to a certain extent we're in a situation that is something that the borough should do, but decided to withdraw.
There is another sort of bit to this issue as well, because whilst they've taken the bins away, they didn't actually bring a bin out to empty the bins into when they took them away. And there is a massive pile of dog bags on the Booth field where they took that bin away. And I've had another resident come in who litter picks all along Hook Lane and around there, and she asked why there's a massive pile of bags there, and that's where the other bin was. So literally, they have upended the bins onto the floor and just taken the bin away. So they've actually littered.
What is the matter with these people?
Which I just think is the borough council are fining people for littering, and their staff.
What, can't we do something about that?
Well, I've contacted Maidstone Borough Council, and I know Martin's spoken to them as well, but they're still there.
Yeah, well,
It's
perhaps that's
it's got,
he's gone.
but it's shocking, absolutely shocking.
That needs enforcing.
We need to.
That their own staff
Yes.
have done that. They didn't bring a bin out to take them away.
Sorry, just moving on. I think Janetta said that she was going to. I mean, really, once the council have a telephone call, they do actually state that they will come out and collect any of the rubbish, whether it is fly tipping within 48 hours. No, that's not always the case, but they really should do. And there's certainly something specific.
The location of mixed bins is another cause for concern from a point of view of the extension of the village with the new incumbents, isn't it? Here we have a situation on the south side of the A20, virtually with no bin facility. So where are they taking their product? It's coming into
Well,
the other parts of the village, which doesn't have sufficient bins anyway. And taking your point, then geographically they're not in the right places somehow.
no.
And the other concern I have is the extension to the cemetery and the garden of remembrance of both Harrietsham Parish Council properties, in effect, where the residents, including me, you know, have the facility of crossing their paths. And I take a lady in the good lady at the back who was talking previously. It's just a problem that people are just discarding their litter, and then they say, "Well, I've got nowhere to put it." And then you find it's in the lanes, and in the Tiers meadow. It's depressing. The number of bins is the problem.
It is, but I mean, you can't get a three-piece suite in a bin. They've got to pay for that to be removed, and they just don't want to.
I'm referring to the dog litter.
Yeah.
Do forgive me.
It's not just dog litter, is it?
It's not just, it's
Water
everything,
bottles.
fridges and whatever.
I've had a suggestion from 3 dog owners in Lenham that they would be prepared as dog owners to sponsor a bin. And we may take that on further and try to get sponsorship for bins. Because as somebody said